All right, last section in this chapter, we started learning about what the graph of a quadratic equation looks like. And we learned that they're either upside down or right side up U's called parabolas. And we learned a couple other vocabulary words about parabolas. We learned about the vertex. Basically, the vertex is either the high or the low point if you think about it like a U. So a parabola might open up like this, and if it opens up, then that low point is called the vertex. The parabola might also open down. So if it opens down, it's the high point that is the vertex. And then we learned about how to find the vertex. So before we talk about that, let me remind you, parabolas take the general form ax squared plus bx plus c. If you don't have an x squared term, then it's not a parabola, it's a line. So the trick that we learned to find the x coordinate of the vertex is to use the formula minus b over 2a. So if I want to take the equation that I have in red and try to figure out what the vertex is, I can first start by listing what a, b, and c are. A is always the coordinate of x squared, so for this equation it's -1. B is the coordinate of, coefficient of x, so for this equation it's 4. This equation has no constants, so c is 0. So if I want to start to figure out the vertex, I can use my formula, -b over 2a. So I'm just going to plug in b and plug in a and then simplify. So -4 over -2 simplifies to 2. So I already know my x coordinate for the vertex is 2. Once you know the x coordinate, then you can plug it in to solve for y. So if I rewrite my equation over here, y equals -x squared plus 4x. I want to know what y is when x equals 2. So all I'm going to do is take 2, and anywhere in my equation I see an x, I'm going to substitute in 2. And I'm going to figure out what y equals. So for this parabola, remember here when you're simplifying this first term, order of operations, you're going to do 2 squared first and then make it negative. So -4 plus 8, so y equals 4. So that means this parabola has a vertex at the point 2, 4. So let me put that on my handy coordinate plane. The other thing you know about parabolas is based on the sign of A. Looking at the equation, I know that A is -1, and because A is negative, I already know this parabola is going to open down. It's just something to keep in mind to make sure the other points, when we figure them out, make sense. So, let me write my equation down again. -x squared plus 4x. Once you guys have the vertex, I'm going to ask you guys to find 4 other points to get a general picture of the parabola. All you need to do is randomly choose 4 values for x, plug them in, solve for y. The closer you stay to the vertex, the easier the numbers are going to be to work with. So my vertex occurs at 2, 4. So I'm going to pick the numbers that are closest to x equals 2. So I'm going to go one direction in the right, and I'm going to choose x equals 3. And I'm going to plug it into my equation and just solve for y. Y equals -3 squared plus 4 times 3. So -9 plus 12. So y equals 3. So that means the point 3, 3 is another point on my parabola. And it looks like we're doing things right because I know my parabola is supposed to open down. Let me pick one more x value, one more to the right. So I'll plug in x equals 4. Y equals -4 squared plus 4 times 4. -16 plus 16, y equals 0. So 4, 0 is another point on my parabola. Now in theory, if I have done those correctly, everything should be a mirror image on the other side. But I've told you guys not to rely on that in case either of the 2 points you just found were incorrect. So if I want to find points now on the other side, same equation, I'm just going to choose a point now to the left. So I started at x equals 2. I'm going to go 1 over to x equals 1, and that's what I'm going to plug in. -1 squared plus 4 times 1 is -1 plus 4, which is 3. And that's good because I get the same y coordinate that I got on the other side. So now you can be pretty confident that you're on the right track. Next number over, x equals 0. That's usually pretty easy to plug in. 0 plus 0 is 0. So I have a mirror image, which is good. This is an ugly parabola, but you guys get the idea. So just to quickly review, ax squared plus bx plus c, the first thing you want to do is find the vertex by starting with the x coordinate formula minus b over 2a. Once you find x, plug in to find y, and that will get you your vertex. Next thing you want to do is figure out if the parabola opens up or down. If A is positive, it opens up. If A is negative, it opens down. The last thing you need to do is find 4 other points. Make sure all your information makes sense. What I mean by that is, if you are, hang on a minute, let's say you found your vertex, you plotted it wherever, and then you started to find some other points, and maybe the first point you found was down there, and then the next point you found was down there, and then you tried to do the same points on the other side, and then maybe you got something that looked like this, and then something that looked like this. Well, that is not a mirror image. One side looks like that, one side looks like that. So it looks like the left-hand side is a little wider than the right-hand side. That means something has gone wrong. Some of your points are miscalculated. So making sure everything kind of makes sense is going to make sure you have your parabola graphed correctly.